Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you? So how are you this Thursday night? Look at all these people here. I'm so excited to see you. Hi, Alexis, Marsha, Cheryl, Kathleen Ziegler, Marsha, Cheryl L. Oh, this is great to see you. So, hello. I'm sorry I took off last week. I tell you, I don't know if y'all are this way, but we had the tree people over here working on the trees for 3 days. And there were some ups and downs and a lot of concerns. So, but they did a wonderful job. But we had our power go out one night and it was hot, but we got it back on. But then I hired a high schooler, quilting of the soul for the soul. I hired a high schooler to come and move this huge pile of the grindings from the mulcher. They bring this huge mulcher. They feed all branches 6 inches and smaller into it, and the leaves and all that. So we had this huge pile of mulch, and it was down on the root zone of a forest pansy redbud, which I love. It has the purplish leaves on it in the summer, and it's just beautiful. And it is a perfect specimen. It's probably been there 40 years, so it's absolutely beautiful. So anyway, so we had people at the house a lot. And, we're trying very hard to stay away from anyone who might have COVID. And so that's always a stress and a stress. And then we noticed all the people that worked on our house, nobody wore masks. It was a little scary. And are you frozen again? I hope you can see me. Hello. So it kind of wore on us. And I find if I do too much and I get too stressed, then I start to feel kind of ucky. Now, I know Grand is too... Oh, Vicky, hi! It is so good to see you, Vicky. And, as I get older, I just don't bounce back from stress like I used to. Plus, I was outside filming a lot of the tree because, I put the tree... It's on our site, the big tree we had taken down. But altogether, with the trees that got damaged and other things, there were probably 4 trees taken down around that time. Then they came back this Tuesday and took 2 limbs of a beautiful white pine that has a hole and some branches above it, and they could tell the tree was already stressed, so that top of the tree would have cracked off with the heavy weight of these pendulous horizontal branches. So they said, we really should take that tree down. Well, I didn't want to take any more trees down. I didn't want any more flower beds messed up. So I said, can you take the 2 heavy branches off? That'll take the stress off the tree. Let's see what happens. And that way, if it falls, it's not going to hit a power line and it's not going to hit the house. So they came back Tuesday and they did that for us. But I tell you what, when I'm older like this, when I get that busy and I get that stressed, I just don't feel so good afterwards. Plus, I didn't stop to think that with them dropping those limbs that were coming down and hitting all the leaf matter and just everything that shed off the trees and flumped up from the ground, my asthma was a mess. So I'm sorry, last week I just couldn't handle doing a show. And Mark and I have been trying to take it a little easy and rest and just, we're not young spring chickens anymore. And something like this is very stressful on us. So anyway, I haven't done as much work on the quilt as I hoped to, but we're still going to move on to our next project. And then I'll show you next week. I'll show you the finish when I've got this finished. And I'll also show you, unless Jody comes in, I'll wait to show you how I do the eyes of the quilt next week. All right, so here is the guy that was taking the tree down. Oh, I know. Can you imagine him breathing in all that stuff? So, hi, Diane, 57. We're so glad to see you, sweetheart. So anyway, oh no, Kathleen, your niece has a temp over 103. Oh boy, tell her, I don't know how old she is, but she shouldn't wait too long before she goes in, because they're finding the earlier you get treatment, the better the results. So that's really, really, really good. But please take good care of her, okay? That make sure they do the right thing for that child. Oh, 103 is pretty high. So when I was, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember now. I was about 39. I had double pneumonia. I ran 105 fever. I don't remember much of the week of the 1 week I was in the hospital with double pneumonia. I don't remember much of it. So be careful. So I hope everybody's being safe. Oh my gosh, this coronavirus is horrible. We are, the worst, except for Brazil, in the whole world dealing with this. And you know what? Nobody's still dealing with it. And everybody's running around trying to figure out how they can do this. I read today that one of the suppliers says there's no centralized decisions on how to handle this. They don't know who to go to get their supplies to people. It's a mess. But anyway, we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I wanted to show you, here's what I've gotten done so far. And so far as the face, that's it. And it's going to stay that way. I noticed the nose is a little crooked on it, but I'm not doing any more to it. So, oh no. Oh, darling. Get a good internist. Somebody knows what they're doing. Get that fixed. But anyway, there it is. The face, the shirt, and I've started putting my little framed things I love best around it. Of course, my family down here. My best favorite sewing machine, my dogs, my rooster quilt that I put in that show, Mark and I floating around on the lake, my favorite lake, my favorite place in the whole world. So here it is, and what I'm doing now is starting the thread painting. Yeah, oh, thank you, sweetie. The face got kind of dark, and I tried putting white on it and pink. And one of the problems I'm having is it's stretched out a little bit. I might have to take it loose. I've already stitched it down with invisible thread. Can you see? You see those holes? So I've already stitched it down. But you see how I need to take this edge back up, smooth it over, and stitch it again. But that happens from when this is a good thing for you to remember, because remember, this is the second time I did the face. The first face started going too far off, and I did it again. And so I stitched it down. I think what I would do, she needs a facelift, yes. I think what I would have done better is to have just lightly basted it on. And then because doing all of the ink tints pencils, and putting them on there and then wetting it and then brushing it and then smoothing it out, it stretches the fabric. And so what I need to do, I tried taking and spritzing it with water and pressing it and starching it, because that takes up a lot of it. But there's still a little bit over here. So what I'll do is I'll take out these stitches right here that stitched it down. Then I'll press it really good. Then I'll come back and stitch it down again. So I can fix that. All right. So now what I thought. So today I'm going to do a little bit of work on thread painting. And let me see if I want to drop my feed dogs this time. And I'm going to do a little work with thread painting and show you how I'm going to start that. I'm not going to do any trapunto with this one. I really don't want to make my face puffy because I don't think I can get it to where it looks right. And so let's just skip that part. Yes, please, Vicki. We want you to take good care of yourself, sweetheart. So, and I don't know if I told y'all, but about 7 years ago, I started feeling really badly, and my calcium numbers were going up every time I had blood work done. My calcium numbers were in the 10s, headed toward, and I think even the low 11s at one point. And I went first to an endocrinologist who said, oh, we'll just watch it. It must mean you have benign parathyroid tumors, but we hate to operate and we'll just watch it. Well, it made me sick as a dog. Mark said I became a ghost of myself. I had no energy. I just didn't feel good. I was irritable. It was awful. So finally, after trying to get somebody to pay attention to me, I went back to my doctor and told her, look, I feel miserable. My blood calcium keeps going up. I'd rather not live if I have to feel this way. She said, well, let's go in and get that taken care of. So she said, we don't even have to get a reference. I can call the surgeon. You can meet with her. And so I had it done. And sadly, I had to go in and do it twice because one of them was hidden and it also had a benign tumor on it. And when I say a benign tumor, sometimes the parathyroids, just the size of a grain of rice. Well, sometimes they just keep growing. For whatever reason, they start growing. Well, the bigger they are, the more hormone they put out, which throws off everything. So it kept trying to rid my body of calcium, which meant it was trying to thin my bones. And that's not good. Plus, it just has all these complications it makes you feel. So when my blood calcium started going back up again, she said, I hate to tell you this, we're going to have to do it again. And I hated to have surgery again, but you know what? I did it, and I'm so glad I did. It was like turning a light bulb off and then turning it back on. That big of a difference. So what you need to remember is keep talking, keep telling them how you feel until they can figure out what's going on. Because I've gotten my life back. And yes, I had to have outpatient surgery twice. It was so worth it. So anyway, but I just thought I would tell you. And if one doctor or endocrinologist says, oh, we're just going to watch it. Why watch it? Because once they start growing, they don't shrink on their own, and it'll just lead you to osteoporosis. So get the surgery done and be done with it. That's just my opinion. Don't hold me to it. I am not a medical professional. So anyway. Okay. Yeah, you need your life back. So find out what it is. And hopefully it's something as simple as I had that they can fix it and it'll change your life. All right. So thanks. Another thing. I was thinking that we need to figure out what our next project will be. And I have a couple of ideas. I kind of am enjoying this art quilt stuff. And so I thought, well, we could always do, you know how we did something to do with birds? Well, how about if we did? I got two options. And if you come up with one, holler, I'll see it and enter that one too. But what if we did our favorite dog or cat? Most of all of us have a dog or a cat. So we could do our favorite pet, and you could do it whatever form you want, whether you want to do it accurate, whether you wanted to do it abstract, whatever. Or the other thing is this. What if we did a commentary quilt? And we could do something that says, like for me, I am mad at the lack of any kind of planning, any kind of idea. I'm getting really angry with this crisis, and now the talk is make these kids go back to school. Well, if you want them to go back to school, my personal opinion is get the testing right, get the cross-checking right, get these numbers down so they're not out of control, then think about sending the kids back. But you know what? People are being cavalier with our lives, just like when they told us to open everything back up and didn't want us to wait until the numbers were going down. I get angry too because we've got over 133,000 people dead. I look over in Europe, they're opening up for real over there. They did what they were supposed to do. They did tons of testing per capita, much more than we did. And now they brought the numbers down. They're able to open up for real. And here we sit, how many months later, we're not doing anything. So I thought maybe we could get some of our feelings out and do a quilt that somehow says what we're feeling or thinking, and it could be something good. You could have discovered something during this crisis, something about yourself or your family or your friends that you feel happy to have discovered that. So it doesn't have to be bad, doesn't have to be angry. It could be happy, it could be playful. But I was thinking maybe, so on one hand, maybe we could do our favorite dog or cat. On the other hand, we could do how we're feeling currently about this COVID crisis, the election, whatever. There's a wonderful group, and they do political quilts, and it gives them a voice. And I love that. And the woman who is the host of Quilting Arts TV show, she is a member. And now her name just went right out of my brain. But I love her. And I thought that might be cool. So, who knows? So, do you have anybody else? Oh, hi, Diana Wright. Diana Wright has had her pool dug. So I'm so excited. I mean, she's getting close. So, and won't that be wonderful? Because I understand people. Yeah, if you have a pet rock, you could do a quilt of a pet rock. And you could do any pet any animal that inspired you. Susan Brubaker Knapp. Thank you, Sherry. You got it, girlfriend. And so they do political quilts. And I think it's a wonderful way to express how you're feeling. And we're not going to judge here one way or another. I have my opinions. Y'all have y'all's opinions. And it's okay. And there you go, Marcia. We do love PBS, don't we? Oh, thank goodness. So, I bet you it would, Vicki, because it's just so frustrating. And I'm getting angry, and I'm tired of being patient. And I'm getting angry that our federal government is not doing what it's supposed to do. And they're just telling us, don't look behind the curtain. Don't look behind the curtain. And you know what? That's an insult to us and the 133,000 people who've died. So, anyway. But, so, be thinking. If you can think of another idea that you would like to do. But, sometimes doing something like this. Now, let's say, Vicki says if she made a quilt right now, it would be all black. That can be a good thing. Sometimes when we feel helpless, doing a drawing, writing a poem, writing a letter that you don't send to anybody, but just getting all your feelings out, it can help. So what do you think? It might be fun to kind of do. I have strong feelings about this current climate and crisis and good or bad and what you think. So yeah, it does. And maybe it's time that we put our own words into it. And you know what? Sometimes doing something like this helps you feel like you're taking a little bit of the power back. And that's a good thing. Because I think a lot of us feel very powerless. Oh, that's sweet, Cheryl. Yep. You know what? You could have it all black and just peek through and there's some flowers back there waiting. But it might be something, even if you just wanted to take paints and draw on a fabric and draw whatever you feel, it might be a good thing to get out our feelings. And quilts, the thing I love about quilts is so many women over the hundreds of years have documented what, without even realizing it, documented things that are going on in their life during the time period they make the quilt. Whether it's weddings, whether it's funerals, whether it's new babies, whether it's a move across the country, all kinds of things. So, oh, sorry, Diana. You don't worry, Diana. I mean, you don't worry if you're not feeling up to snuff. We can take care of this. So anyway, so what do you think? Oh, that is so... Hi, Frida Petrie. It is so nice to meet you. Good job making lap quilts for low-income nursing homes. Honey, that's wonderful. And you know, our Diana Wright, we had some others, Vicky Robles, that made a bunch of face masks, and I just think y'all are angels. Thank you. Well, do know, just remember that if you're diabetic, the stress of this time will cause your hormones, your endocrine system to go nuts. So it's all understandable. You finished the top for the swap we did. Oh, I can't wait to see it. You'll have to send me some pictures so I can show them Sunday. That is exciting. Well, I'll tell you what, be thinking about what you want to do. And if you don't come up with a better idea than me, I'm kind of thinking doing how I feel about this pandemic. Now, you know what? Yeah. And you know what? If you just want to make something to give to a nursing home, you can too. We're very relaxed around here. So that's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have some darker thread loaded, and what I'm going to do is show you how I'm going to do some thread painting on the hair. Now, I have several layers of fabric, but if I didn't, what I would do is put fusible interfacing on the back of this because you need to stabilize it. If you don't have fusible interfacing, you can do a sew-on interfacing and just zigzag right in your seam allowance around the edge. But you have to, if you're going to do thread painting, you have to stabilize the back of it, okay? You want to do your diamond, baby. And you know, if some of you are busy or not feeling well, remember that what you're kind of doing too is tell me what you want to see me work on. So that's why I say, if you have some ideas and it's like, I want to see Deb do this, then that works for me too. All right. So here's my quilt. Oh, and I'm going to show you next week how I made the eyes. Jody asked, how did I do the eyes? Today I did the final touch on the eyes, and I took, let me find it. I took a tiny, tiny little brush, and I took just white acrylic paint. And this is just white acrylic paint, and I did a little dot on each eye. Yes, I did do a color wash with the pink and the white because it was pretty brown. In fact, somebody Sunday said I look jaundiced. But if you'll notice, it's much closer to my color and it's got some of the pink in it. So, but right here, I really am not that wrinkled, ladies. I just have to open this up and smooth that back out. But now, since I have done all the stitching down this time, I used my superior threads. And I used the clear, and I did a narrow zigzag and zigzagged all of my fabrics down. So what I'm going to do now is start some thread painting. And I have my inspirations here, and I always like to put those in front of me so that while I'm thread painting, I'm looking at how it looks in the photograph. But I've got the darkest color in right now. Now, I've had people say, well, they start with the lightest and work back to the darkest. I don't do it that way. I work the dark and then come forward. So it's entirely up to you what works best for you. All right. Now, I have dropped the feed dogs, and I'm just going to do a regular straight stitch. Now, remember, I have to do the moving of the machine myself. I'm not going to get any help from the machine. So when I have to make sure that I run the stitches the speed I'm going, because I could make it go super fast or super slow. And since I brush my hair away from my face, I'm doing these stitches sideways. Okay. Now, often I leave the feed dogs up because I like pulling against it. But I thought, I'll go ahead and try to do them with them down. But let me see if I can zoom in and show you these. Whoops. Come on. I know it's here somewhere. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Here's my thread painting right there. All right. So now move this back out. Okay. Oh, good. Oh, thank you, Diana, sweetie. I told him that I could have done a few things a little bit better, but I'm tired. I'm done with it. So now I'm going to, I'm using a connecting threads. Let me see if I can show you. A connecting threads variegated. Okay. And I like it because it's got some brightness to it. I had two variegated. I had this one. You know, it might not be the connecting threads. I don't think it is. I don't know which one this is. But look at how much brighter it. The connecting threads doesn't have that golden glow. Whoops. This one has a golden glow to it, and I really like it. All right, so let me put that there. Let me put that back on there. All right. Okay. I just wanted to show you, too. This is a pretty big spool of thread. So, as you see where the spool comes, it's hard to put the cap on there that way. So what I do is I turn the cap upside down. So that way I can get a nice snug fit. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Next week, thank you. Diana said the eyes are so bright. Next week, I am going to show you, I'm going to do some eyes right in front of you so you can see how I do it. I had told Jody I was going to try to make hold on. Oh, I was going to try to make a video, but I just haven't had time, and I wanted to get this done. So I thought, okay, I will do a live demonstration next week. And that way you can see me doing it in real time. All right, here I'm going to, even though I'm a blonde with a little bit of help, when you look at the portrait of yourself, there are all kinds of colors, browns and whites and pale tans. And so let me see. But I want this hair. Now, I don't think I'm going to do, yeah, it does work good, doesn't it? I don't think that I'm going to do thread painting much on the face. The reason is I worked so hard to get all that detail and softness on the face. I'm so afraid that if I do too much thread painting, it might become a mess. So we'll see. I'll have to decide. I might use this color and do a little of my eyebrows and kind of see what I think of that. So, but what made this come alive was the bit of white that I put as the shine in the eyes. And then taking care to, I found with the ink tints, you have to be very careful. And I ended up doing a lot of this with the outliner, which is the one that does not have ink in it. It's just, oh, I'm with you, Kathleen. I thought that I had ruined this yesterday because I kept trying to lighten it, and it just started to look like a mess. I said, Deb, stop messing with it, because sometimes I don't know when to quit. And if you do it too much, you'll ruin it, let me tell you. Ask me how I know. So, okay, I'm going to put some lines in there. The only problem with this variegated is sometimes you can't get the dark where you want it. So, that's the only problem. You need to be careful. And you can always pull the thread and cut it off if it's not dark where you need it dark. But, we hate to do that to our threads, don't we? Okay, now I need more dark in here. Okay, here I go. I'm getting some dark now. Okay, and then I'm going to run. Whoop. And be careful that you don't get your feet going too fast there. All right. Okay. And see, at first, when you're doing your thread painting, it will look like messy. But as you put more and more in, then it'll look much better. So now, I'm worried a little bit. I'm going to take off this variegated. And I'm going to take it off and come in with, I have this variegated too, which might be pretty in places. But I think I want to do dark, and I'm going to come in here with this. All right. And I think this is the thick Aurifil that I got from Pineapple Fabrics for like $1 a spool, which you know me, that's my price. Okay. Let me get this right down here. Look, come on. Okay, here we go. All right, so I think this is better. It's going to allow me to put the color right where I want it. Yeah, that's looking good. I want to check and see if I have a slightly darker brown too. The problem is I have some very dark browns like this and this. I think they're just, now maybe I'll use a little bit of this, but let's see. No, not me. Not too dark. I wonder what this would look like if it's actually shown. I don't know. Let me look one more place. Before I do a project like this, I go and try to look through my decorative. Oh, here we go. This might be just what I need. Yay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try some of this first. So how are things going? You talking about your favorite place? Uh-oh. Unable to read what's been written. But how is, besides we've got 2 people not feeling their best. How are things going? How is life in your town? Our spiking is slowly slowing down, but not enough for me to trust it. And do not go out in public without your mask. Ladies, listen to Miss, I bet you all the ladies here who did mask sewing can tell you just how critical it is that you wear those masks. They're finding now that it's just very, very small particulates, so you need the mask to keep, just people talking and breathing is enough to send it your way. And stay outside. If you have to visit, stay on your driveway 6 feet apart or 8 feet apart if you can do it. Okay, I'm going to go down the side of my head because this side of my head was in shadow. So I think it's good to go down here. Okay. Let me cut my threads and see what I've got. Oh, I did not see my Jenny Beyer weekly email, and I did not see it until today. She had the silk YLI silk thread on sale for $4.80 or 90 cents a spool instead of $6 or $7. And by the time I went on there to look, all the colors I wanted to buy were sold out. But she is cutting down on her stash so she won't have to move it to the new. She's cutting back on what she thinks she doesn't want to sell at the new warehouse. So she'd rather sell it now than move it. And I don't blame her. I think that's very smart. So, okay, so I'm putting, do you see, whoops, right here, I'm putting in some shadowing, some parts of my hair. Let me see. All right. Now let me go over here. Oh no. guess what? I unfortunately had this tucked under. Okay, I've done this before. You've seen me do it. Now, how can we prevent this from happening? Because it's not a good thing when it happens. I'll tell you how I'm going to prevent this from happening again. Because I like putting stitches in, not taking them out. And it's so easy when you're grabbing it to do that. Luckily, I can get it all out. And let's say you're left with the needle holes, then just wet your finger, rub it on the fabric, and give it a little scratch with your fingernail, and all the needle holes just go away. Now here, I'm not going to put any water on this because this is that stuff that I bought that you print on your printer, and I don't want to lose any of my color. All right, so what I'm going to do to prevent this from happening again is I'm going to take the quilt, roll it like this, and put this on there. And that way I know it's not underneath. Like I said, I always show you the good and the bad and the ugly. In fact, the man that wrote the theme song for The Good and Bad and Ugly just passed this week. I think he was 90 years old. Bless his heart. So, okay, let's get you in here again, and let's do, whoops, hold on. I'm trying to see how it's best for you to see it. Okay. And so I use the colors of the fabric to block in that color, but then I come in, and they call it thread painting for a reason. You block in your color on a painting, but then you come in and you fine tune it with a tiny brush and some specific color. Okay, so here is this. And let me show you why I did that. Because you see, let me get in the light. Okay, do you see right here? There's a little shadow. Let me pull this back a little. There's a little shadow here where this part of the hair catches the light and this part's in shadow. So that's why I'm doing that. Okay. Let me put this back up now so I can see it again. All right, so I come in here with my dark colors. Now up in here, I need to get a little bit more shadowing. And it helps to have your thread still in the needle. Okay. Thread painting gives your machine a little workout. So it's really good that during your thread painting, you check your machine and you keep it clean. Make sure that pieces of thread haven't gotten tangled in the little arm that makes it come up and down. I forget what that's called, but it's this little thing right here that goes up and down. It's like a tensioner. And just make sure that you don't end up. And then always make sure that the thread is not somehow hooked, because sometimes it'll get caught. Like right now, right here, it's caught. So and right here, see on this little thing? It got tangled around that. So now I cut it loose. I've got a little piece here where it had knotted. Cut it loose. And then always lift up your presser foot so you loosen the tension knobs. because you've got to get the thread in between the tension knobs. Then rethread it. Rethread it. But what I'm going to do is probably when I change to a different color, I will get my little sewing brush and I will clean everything out. Clean all up in here. And you know, if you ever want to clean your tension discs, which are inside the knob, think about using a piece of dental floss. Because dental floss is made not to stick, but it's thick enough, and if you just run it through the tension disc, it can get any dust or threads that are stuck in there out. Okay, now let me see. I might soon get ready to, I'm going to do a little bit of darkening down here. And a lot of times I'll take and try to do the thread painting, the shape of the hair or the feathers in that part of the artwork. Like that. And then I'm going to continue to sew back in here and then put a lot of dark thread here. This is a deep, deep shadow. Okay. Now, while I've got this out, let's see if I can do, I've never done an eyebrow before. So let's see if we can do this. Okay, so the eyebrow is made of a bunch of short hairs. It goes this way. Let's see. I don't know. I'm going to leave that for the time being because, well, it's not, let me just do a touch more fill in. But I'm going to leave that and see what I think. And if I don't like it, then I'll take it out and not do the other one. But I'm kind of curious. You know, with this, I'm doing it at the same time you're seeing it. So I'm making this up as I go along. This is my first self-portrait I've ever done. I've never done a drawing or painting self-portrait, so this is my very first time. And this is one of those little seam rippers that is like a scalpel, and I like it for getting tiny, like embroidery stitches, things like that. Okay, so now this should be loose and I can pull it out. Okay. Just be careful. Last thing you want to do is to rip that fabric. Okay. There we go. All right. So I'll just kind of save that and see what I think. Let me. Here is the one I did with thread painting. And this is the one without. So I'll have to just see for now. Yeah, I was plucking my eyebrows. You know, if you pluck them enough when you're young, at some point they give up. So that's how I feel about my chin hairs. If I just keep plucking them, by the time I'm 90, they'll give up. So, okay. Now I'm going to go over here and do a little more. Okay. Now, I am so silly, I have yet to go look for my machinigers because it'd be a lot easier on my hands if I had it. Because doing this is a little strenuous. Your fingers, your joints get a little sore after a while. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead. Oh, that looks real good. I did a good job with that there. Because let me see. Hold on just a second. My lighting needs to be better. But by the time I do the fill in with the other colors, that's the look I'm going for. Okay? So now, just to get to the fun part, let me show you what I've got with threads. I go to my thread buckets and I get every thread I even think might work. And I don't know if I'll even use all of these, but that's what I do. I go to the thread bucket and I start pulling everything that I think I could possibly use for blonde hair. Okay? Now, the reason I do that is because I look at them and go, well, I like this, or like, I kind of can compare them, and that'll help me see what I need. Okay? So, I want to get to the light part, and we've only got a few minutes left, so I'd like to get one little part of the section pretty well done. So let me see. And I even got white, because if you're going to, or creamy white, because if you're going to do the parts that the light's really shining on, and probably my gray hair showing through, then I'm going to need that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and work on this up here. I'm going to go to this color. I would consider this a dark blonde color. So let me pull this out. Put this in. I'm just going to do one section and kind of work through to kind of show you what I'm going to finish with. Okay. All right, so now I feel like I just finished with this. And this mostly is a very highlighted part in this picture, at least right up in here. So let's see now. I'll go over it. And the dark is not all exactly dark. It's kind of dark and light, kind of a little bit blended. It's a blended look. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to go back and forth into, not very much into the darkest part, but I'm going to blend it to come out. And I'm blending that dark where it's going to be lighter. And my hair is brushed to flip over like this, so I'm going to do some of that shape. I'm going to actually do the shape of how I comb it over to get that look. And I find that it works better if you do a pretty fast stitch speed so that you're not breaking your needle trying to push back and forth. Because to move it like this, I'm trying to move it. Whoops, let me make sure. Okay. I was just making sure that I only had the one layer. Okay. So now, let me sew this part down real quick before it gets me in trouble. I missed that part with the invisible thread. Okay. So I just wanted to give it a little bit. Now let me come down in here and do a little bit of that where I brush it over like this. My hands are getting a little sore, so I'll show you what else you can do. Especially if you're like me and you're not sure where you left your machinigers. Is take the fabric when you're starting to do this thread painting and kind of grab it and hold it. And that way you don't have to push down hard and strain your fingers. Whoops. Okay. So now I've got the dark. Let me put a little bit more of this medium right here. All right. See, I'm going to see how I comb it to kind of flip over like this. So now I'm going to come in with my much lighter color. And I'm going to give it the highlights. And this way you'll be able to see how I get what I'm doing. I think this time, I'm going to use this. Or should I use... The only problem with this one is it's a little thick. So I think I'm going to go with this. It's a little yellow, but what I can do is use the yellowy one first, then come over it with white, and that'll blend it. You're blending the thread just like you would blend paint. If you wanted a color that wasn't too yellowy, you'd blend it with white. So I'm just going to show you this other little part, and then we'll talk about what we want to start for next week. Okay, so now I'm coming in with the highlight color. So here we go. Okay. Caught something. I'm not sure what I did. All right. I think this will be good to show you. So now what I'm trying to do is I want to show you the hair done all the 3 colors. And so you have a little dark. Let me show you the original. I was trying, whoops. Okay. So I was trying to get some of the dark in here laid in, then a little bit of a medium honey, and now I did a little of the highlight. See how the highlight's right here? So the rest will be like the medium honey. But now that's just a quick little thing to show you, but I wanted to show you how that looks. And I think when I get it all done, let me get my lamp. Let me get a couple threads. Sometimes when you're using the thread, doing the thread painting really fast, the thread might catch something on the back, at the back of your machine. So, okay. Now, here we go. So that just gives you a little idea, and I still have to do it. Don't worry about that one. I haven't blended, but you can see how this blended. And you can see how the shadow is underneath this part, and that's what I was doing with that. So it gives it more of a 3D look. Hi, Laura Rylander. Oh, I understand. That's fine. Thank you for coming. So now you see I've taken 3 different threads, and I really like the way it's going to look. I think that will give me a lot of definition because it's hard to do hair with fabric. Okay? All right. So I'll keep working on this so that next week I should have it done. But have y'all been thinking, hi, Laura, and it's nice to see you, and please feel free to come in and out as your family needs you, because this is for fun, and the good thing is you always have it to watch later. So, but anyway, and I think I was going to show you this color too, because all of those colors are in blonde. You know, the one color that's not in blonde is this. But you never know. Sometimes you may need something a little bit bright to kind of give the whole thing the right effect. But hopefully you can see where doing thread painting is going to make the hair look much better. Because I can block it with all the different fabrics, but it doesn't look right. But if I can get the right thread painting done, I think it's going to work. All right. So have y'all, what's Cheryl getting some, or Cheryl, are you thinking of getting some gloves? Yeah, we need to make our own decisions of what's right for our family, especially if nobody's really in charge out there and, you know, we're getting conflicting facts. We're smart. We can make our own decisions. All right. Jody, there you are. Hi, sweetheart. Next week, I'm going to actually show you. I'm going to start with plain fabric and show you how I make an eye. And I was telling them what really brought the eyes to life tonight was my white acrylic paint. My forehead's extremely wrinkled tonight, so I'm going to work on smoothing that out. But I was telling them when you use the ink tints and the brushes and you're kind of scrubbing the fabric, it stretches it out. So I'm just going to take loose a couple stitches, smooth it back down, and stitch it again. I've heard good things. In fact, you know that, who is that woman? She's from Canada. She just wrote a book. And, she's real sweet. Laura Coy, I think is her name. And she has some really cool gloves that she swears by. And I'm going to find mine because it puts too much stress on my fingers and wrists. So And you know what? They shouldn't be too expensive. It is so good to see you, Laura. It's 5:30. Oh, yeah, that is tricky. I'm sorry, sweetie. We're also on here Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know if that's any better for you. I got my block from Miss Marcia. I forgot to tell you. So I forgot to tell you. So I'm really, thank you, Miss Marcia. That's a good idea because, you just need something that helps you grip. And my machinigers are probably upstairs somewhere, but what I'm trying to tell you is my 2 sewing rooms are really messy and I'm not able to find everything. I promise I'll try to look. So this week, I promise. So do you find, I always swore I never wanted old lady handwriting. Well, it kind of happens. And especially, like you say, when we do more typing than handwriting. So has anybody, aren't they great? These threads that I have, I've just collected from everywhere. If anybody ever has threads for sale, I try to see what I can buy because the wider variety I get, the better thread painting I get. And I just can't afford to buy them full price. So like I look at So It's For Sale, that group online, and if they have, nowadays though, they've been kind of expensive. But I will show Jody how to do eyes next week. I'm going to take you from the very plain basic fabric and do the whole eye and show you. Okay? All right. Let's see. Garden gloves are a great idea. So we're thinking of what to do. Oh, I know. Don't you hate signing in with your finger? I do that in like medical offices sometimes. Well, I haven't done it since the COVID crisis. But we're thinking of what to do for next week. And we could do our favorite pet, like a dog or cat, or even, I know we kind of did birds, but we could do, if you don't have a dog or cat and have a bird. But we're also thinking, what if we did what would you call it? It could be, how do you put your feelings into a quilt about this whole pandemic that we're going through? It could even be a political quilt. Just what you're feeling right now. And a way to voice your opinion and put your feelings, good, bad, or ugly, put them into a quilt. And it might be therapeutic. But I don't know. So do y'all have any idea? Y'all have any idea of what you have been thinking about? And we don't even have to decide tonight. But, Diane 57 were like, do favorite childhood memory. Now, I like that. And Sherry Mercuria wants us to know she's not sewing or crafting because she's camping. Oh, no. Oh, you're not camping. That was somebody else. I'm sorry. You stay sick and you're packing to move. But I hope that you'll still come and say hi. And we'll give you as much time as you need to get over that moving. That's a lot, darling. That's a lot to do. All right. So let's let you vote. We've got 3 things. Favorite childhood memory. Your current feelings about this pandemic or politics. Getting your own feelings out. Or your favorite dog or cat. So now just start blurting out what you'd like to see best. And it doesn't mean you have to make one. It could be just something you want to see what I'll do. Okay, we got a childhood memory. Okay. Oh, you're moving closer to your daughter. Good, Sherry. Good. Good girl. Our Cheryl had a bad fall, didn't you, Cheryl? And she's now with her daughter. I think it's her daughter or son. I think it's her daughter. So, and you don't have to do them. It's just which one would you like to see me do, or whoever wants to do it can do it. So we've got 3 childhood memories. Okay, just type out what your favorite thing is to see it. Oh, Sue Smith is here. Hi, Sue. Hi, Sue. Yeah, anytime I suggest things like this, you never have to do it. It's just, I like doing things to kind of keep you interested, and that way you can learn. And when you're ready to do something, you'll know what to do. Are you moving to my area, Sherry? Are you moving anywhere in North Carolina? Oh, and poor Pat Sloan. Oh, I watch. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Favorite childhood memory. And that is a great, I wanted to just say thank you, Miss Diane 57, because that's a great idea, because you can approach that so many ways. Now you got me thinking. Now you got me thinking. Yes, Pat Sloan broke both her wrist and a finger, and she's in cast. Oh, God, she's so brave. And she keeps coming on, and she keeps doing her show, and her husband is a doll baby, and my heart just breaks for her. That's just got to be terrible. And it's going to probably be 2 months at least before she can do anything. She had to have surgery on both arms. She's a champ. That woman is a champ, and send all of your good thoughts her way. Good healing thoughts going to Pat Sloan, Herndon, Virginia. So, you're with your daughter quilting for the soul. Oh, good, good. Now, who does the cooking, you or your daughter? Because that should be really interesting. Or do you cook together? I bet y'all are eating good. Yeah, you can see that look in my eyes when I started thinking, I was thinking camping was my favorite childhood memory. I could just do a big s'mores. Yeah, send her those good healing thoughts. Well, thank you. This was one of the shirts I got off of Romans a few years ago. I wish they would get some more in like this, because it's cotton. And it has big, beautiful roses. I love it. Oh, wouldn't that be neat? Wouldn't that be neat? Yeah, I've got one for me. I could do one for him. And he, you know what he would say? Concentrate on the motorcycle. He'd rather see the motorcycle than anything. So, it is, I just lost track of time. It's time for me to get ready to go. And he's probably coming down here to kind of gently remind me that he's got dinner ready. So, yeah, Pat, I'm feeling real bad for Pat. Ladies, it was lovely to see you. I certainly hope that some of you new people will come back next Thursday. I try to be here every Thursday. I think I've only missed 1 or 2. So please come back, and Laura Rylander, come back and enjoy yourself with us. And hopefully both of us will be back next week. And one of us will have had a facelift. And you'll see which one. All right. Y'all take good care. Y'all are the best. Vicki, it was a delight to have you here, hon. Thank you. And Diane 57, tell Vicki Lemire, come on back. I only have seen her once or twice. So take really good care. Oh, y'all are the best. I can't wait to see you next week. And let's see what trouble we can cook up as we think of favorite childhood memories. Bye, guys. Mwah. So good to see Sue Smith here, too. And Quilting for the Soul, enjoy your time with your daughter, sweetheart. If you have to go through this, at least you've got time with her. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Take good care.